Live from Death Ray Studios in the sunny West Valley of Phoenix, it's Late Night with the Davey. Appearing on tonight's show, Christian HANNA of Planet CHH. And from Sledgehammer Horror, Ken and Ashley Sledge. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Davey Death Ray. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Death Ray here with another edition of Late Night with the Davey. How y'all doing on this lovely, lovely Wednesday evening? Hope everyone is doing great. If you hear some background noise, that is my cat Cosmo trying to get into the room. So yeah, we've got some folks in the chat here. Looks like you guys are ready to go. Rod Danglin says, the man, the myth, the legend, the Davey Death Ray. That's right, Rod. That's right. We've got Cody Greenlee in here. What's happening, Cody? I've seen you over there on Sledgehammer Horror. Thank you so much for coming over here to check us out. Juicy Booch, cute little kitty there, unlike my cat that is banging on the door right now. I swear, let me know in the chat, guys. Do you guys own animals that just won't let you do anything alone? They want to control your entire lives. And then, maybe with dogs, it's a little different because dogs actually like the attention. But my cats are like, gimme, gimme, gimme. And then as soon as I give them attention, they're like, that's not what I want. No. I just wanted to control your life, Davey. That's all I really wanted. Seems like that's how they go. It seems like that's how they go. We got Lil Boozy Bert. What's happening, Lil Boozy? Welcome to the show. You guys having a good week so far? Hopefully everyone is doing great. We've got Matt Facci here in the chat. Guys, if you don't sub over at Facci Cinema, run over there now. Sub. Come on back. We'll be here. I'll actually be on Facci Cinema here on Friday, where Matt and I are going to be watching The Prowler, one of my favorite slashers, especially when you're talking like one-off slashers. I really, really love that movie. So really excited to watch it with Matt and have a chat with you guys and, just completely nerd out. We've got Cheesy Corn Pop, that lovely picture of Dave McRae and Vincent DeSanti. Just awesome shot there. We got Mud Nelson. What's happening? Gavin, Tyler Adams. Everyone is showing up. We got 14 people in here. Let's see if we can break a Late Night with the Davey record tonight, guys. Let's see here. Hey, I just wanted to point out I was Davey's first. Yeah, it's true. Facci with the praying hands. You were the first guest. Love that stuff. Love it. We got Nick Push from Nick Push's Horror Channel. What's happening, Nick? Great to see you in the chat, man. Really love catching your lives as well lately. It's fun to just jump in and hang out. Something I talk about a lot here on the channel is just like, the community as a whole. I love getting to know the content creators. Of course, that's awesome. These are the folks that inspired me to do what I'm doing here. But getting to know you guys in the chat and everything, and getting to know you on a different level since I have a channel now is amazing. And it's really fun to jump in the chat over there on Nick's channel. And of course, other folks as well. We got Dice rolling in the chat. What's happening, Dice? How you doing? Great to see you. We got Lamontre Gillard. What's happening, Lamontre? Great to see you in the chat, bud. Hope you're having a great week so far. Chris Snyder from Movie Misfits saying what's up to everyone. This is awesome. You guys are filling the chat here. Trisha McMasters. How you doing, Trisha? Great to see you. Trisha is a new sub and is doing the whole deep dive. So watching the first couple videos that were shot on my phone. That's the thing. When you start off, it's just like, just jump off that cliff. Just get going. Just do something. You'll get addicted to it. You'll figure out how to make things better. Upon review of your early videos, you'll learn what you can improve on as you go. I encourage everyone that, has a voice and has opinions or just wants to hang out, start a channel and get going. We got T. Parker Evans. What's happening, T. Parker? I love that look in the icon. That's like, are you fucking serious? I love that look. That's a great look. Jamie Hart, Miss Jamie. I've seen every movie in the theater. Jamie Hart. Yes, that's the one. Everyone's saying hi to each other. This is great. Guys, we have an awesome show tonight. Really quick, want to say what's up to Blu-ray Addict. What's happening, Blu-ray? Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. I kind of scanned through there relatively quickly here. Yeah, we have an amazing show tonight, guys. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be lying if I said I weren't just a touch nervous, you know, because we got some folks, heavy hitters coming on the show tonight. Really pumped to you know, test things out. We have a new little bit of a new format. I'm going to do start bench cut. I don't know if you guys were over on Fatchy's channel about a week ago. He did his 4-year anniversary stream, and I just jumped in there. I was like, start bench cut. It's just a nicer way of saying fuck, marry, kill. So I'm going to work that into each guest appearance we have here on Late Night with the Davey. And Matt and I are actually thinking about, you know, or we've been talking about once a month hopping on live and doing just an hour-long show that start bench cut, where we use a spinning wheel. We get you guys involved. And of course, you know, when we play that game with our guests here on Late Night with the Davey, absolutely, I want you guys to chime in the chat and let us know. And even maybe, you know, throw a few out yourself, you know, keep us on our toes. So yeah, holy crap, 20 people in the chat. Everyone is showing up and showing out. Yeah, guys, it has been a crazy busy month here so far at the channel. Really thankful to all of you guys for coming out and supporting all the live streams, checking out the pre-recorded material as well. And man, 5th week of Late Night with the Davey, and it is going very well. That's all thanks to you guys. I feel like, you know, working out the little couple of the technical difficulties over here and just getting more comfortable for myself is all part of the process. So really appreciate you guys being along for the ride. And we've got Medley Man in the chat. What's happening, Medley Man? Great to see you. Yeah, guys, so I guess we can go ahead and bring on our first guest. Many of you know this guy, right? I mean, if you aren't subbing already to Planet CHH, I'm guessing that within a few days you'll be subbing, because the sub count just continuously grows. It's exponential. I feel like, gosh, I don't know, maybe Christian can let me know when he gets in here. I feel like it was January or February, it was like 19,000, and you know, the thing is just popping off. Probably about to hit you know, 30,000 here by the end of the summer, I would say, maybe even sooner. So yeah, guys, with no further hold up here, let's welcome in your good old pal, CHH. How are you doing, Christian?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm you know, been looking forward to this show. I mean, I look forward to all of them, but it's certainly awesome to have somebody on that, you know, I've been watching for quite a while. And you know, you've just got this amazingly chill, like hanging out with a friend after school kind of vibe that you got going over there at your channel. So it's a really awesome kind of experience. Just, you know, watching one of your videos is like hanging out with an old friend. And you know, we have some pretty big overlap with the things we're interested in. But you know, your physical media game is amazingly on point, man. You got some really, really great stuff there in the studio.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the kind words. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I wanted to get into, you know, you're always talking horror over there, of course. You know,
Horror.
horror. What's that?
Where the hell are you from?
Where am I from?
Yeah, you talk so proper. You're like a New Englander or something.
Yeah, I grew up in Juneau, Alaska.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I don't know. It's like the most West Coast boring accent ever, right?
Good God.
It's blank. And I thought you were from New York when I first started watching, because there was, I'm like, am I picking up on like a Brooklyn thing, or what is that?
I get that a lot, because like I grew up in Miro, which is like, if you're looking at Louisiana on the map, it's the very bottom of the boot. So it's like Cajun Nation down there. And like we say a lot of the same words, like coffee. It's CAW. Like it just comes out of my mouth that way sometimes.
Yeah.
I can stop myself and say, I want some coffee, but like it's got that like it's my vowels. I was raised that way, and I never lost it. It just kind of stuck with me. Sometimes I can curtail it, but if
Yeah.
most of the time it slips out and my Cajun comes out of me.
Yeah, and I think I probably clean it up a little bit when I'm on. Like if I'm hanging out, just shooting the shit, I probably let it fly a little bit. Let my words naturally slur a touch. But yeah,
Right.
definitely try to be all proper and everything here. Yeah, I wanted to chat with you about you're such a big music fan. You're always talking about Alice Cooper. You have a love for, 80s music. I see a lot of great 80s bands pop up, but you're a few years younger than me. Is that, I had older siblings that kind of got me into the older stuff. Is that what it was like in your family, or who kind of turned you on to, older movies, older music, all that kind of fun stuff?
Music was interesting. Like when I was a little kid, I used to go to we had a AAA baseball team, which was it was a team called the Zephyrs in New Orleans. And when we would go to the games, my uncle would put on Metallica cassettes, AC/DC, Dirty Deeds. I'll never forget. We used to crank Big Balls on his Chevy S10. Um, he used to show. We used to listen to Aerosmith Pump a lot, and oddly enough, I never listened to a lot of Alice Cooper as a kid. But that kind of stuck with me a little bit. But dude, like honestly, like when I was in high school in like 2006, 7, I was just listening to like whatever was popular. So like 3 Days Grace, Breaking Benjamin, like all the butt rock stuff was huge at the time.
Hmm.
80s, like classic rock. Like now I'm obsessed with like Blue Oyster Cult and Alice Cooper. But like that didn't come till when I was about 22, 23. The older I got, the older the music I started listening to was. And the older I got, the older the music I was listening to. Sorry.
Hmm.
And I found Alice. I knew who Alice was. I don't think you could be on this planet without really knowing who Alice is. But one day I was just like, man, I wanna dive into Alice's discography. And I went from A to Z. I went from Pretties to You all the way up to, at the time, Welcome to My Nightmare. And I just fell in love. Fell in love with Alice. And he's been my hero. He is my hero. I look up to Alice.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah. So it wasn't, I was thinking, I wonder if it's Wayne's World. Cause I think
no.
that was like the first time I, probably like saw him and knew like who he was outside of, cause I had missed all that stuff from the 80s of his. Um,
Those are bonuses to me, but those
mhm.
move like Freddie's Dead and Wayne's World, those have no bearing on my love for Alice. It's truly the music and the records. And, like to me, Billion Dollar Babies, if you look at records from the 70s, I put Billion Dollar Baby, like, Bob Ezrin was a legendary producer. Obviously, he did, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and all that. But to me, when you look at Bob Ezrin's producing work, I think as a body of work, I'm
Mhm.
biased, but I think Billion Dollar Babies is probably top to bottom the best record Ezrin ever produced. I think Billion Dollar Babies is just a rock opera masterpiece. I love it. So yeah, I'm an Alice fan for life, man.
And I would imagine that Alice has, heavily influenced your own music. I know you
No,
got a bit more of a
not
synth
really.
poppy sound, but do you ever find that like,
I can't
because
I can't write like that. I wish I could. Like I can't really write that kind of teenage antagonistic kind of like almost Simpsons-esque rock. Because like if you listen to Alice's lyrics, especially from stuff like Hey Stupid and Trash, it's very much through the eyes of a teenager, which is what he was trying to sing for, was the youth of America. I can't really do that. I just kind of write songs, and then like for instance, I have a song, it's so funny. Brandon Tabato, he has a movie he was making called Sonny the Vampire. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna make a song for your movie. And he's like, all right, I get it ready because I'm rolling, man. So I put the song out. It was called Baby Take My Hand, and it's very much an 80s synth song. And I was like, all right, dude, the song's done. He's like, shh, dude, I haven't even started yet.
Mhm.
So the song's done, and like the image art is Brandon as a vampire. And so I write that, but I write a lot of punk kind of stuff because that just comes natural to me, I guess.
Yeah. I
But
get that, and that's kind of what you have to do when you're writing music, right? Like I always wonder if sometimes some of those melodies kind of creep in, even if you're not, it can be kind of subconscious, It's like whenever I would write music, it would just be like, all right, I'm going to let the song kind of speak to me and tell me what it,
100%.
needs to be. But then every now and then you're like, oh, that kind of like with my writing, I'd be like, that sort of does sound like Elvis Costello. Didn't even think about it. Just somebody that I really enjoy listening to that sort of creeps in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so when you mentioned punk, what kind of punk bands are you into?
TSOL, Ramones, big time. I actually like the Misfits with the second singer. I forget his name. Like Famous
Michael
Monsters.
Graves.
Michael Graves, excuse me. I always blank on whenever the red dot is on, I don't remember names. I'm a huge fan of Famous Monsters. That record to me is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. I used to listen to a lot of hardcore stuff, but the older I get, dude, I'm like an old man. Like I don't like screaming music. I can't stand it. I'll go on Instagram and I'll like you go to your DMs and you can see people that have songs playing. Like,
oh yeah.
I'll click on them, and if it's like screaming stuff, I'm just like, fuck, I can't stand it. I used to like it. I can't listen to it anymore. Believe it or not, Motorhead has a lot of good punky stuff, but like people look at Motorhead as, they're actually really good. Motorhead was a big blues band. Like a lot of their stuff was slow and bluesy, but people only know Ace of Spades. But Motorhead was also fast. They had a lot of punk stuff. Another Perfect Day. I don't know if you're familiar with the record from Motorhead. Fucking incredible record. They had such great records. Bomber from '79 was a great Motorhead record. Stuff like that, man. But believe it or not, this is a deep cut. I'm not a huge Sex Pistols fan, although I like the personality. I actually like Public Image, LTD, that band. But Steve Jones, the guitar player, put out 2 records in the 80s. One of them was 87, and it's just this really great kind of adult-oriented kind of soft rock record. I forget the name of it. I don't want to have to look it up, but I've been listening to that record a lot. I mean, I could look it up because he's got songs that are so good.
Yeah, he's a ripper of a guitar player too. Like when people will in a glib manner kind of compare Sex Pistols and Ramones.
This record right here, dude, it's from '87. It's called Mercy. So good.
All right.
It's a great record. It's a great record. So like I like a lot of that. I love Pseudo Echo. I like a lot of new wave stuff too. My wife turned me on to The Cure about 3 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. Because I was an ignorant idiot. Like I was like, oh, The Cure's just a happy band. I hadn't seen what the band looked like. I never saw.
They're the saddest band.
Disintegration, I think, is probably top 10 records I've ever heard in my life. It's a masterpiece. And so, I love The Cure. I'm obsessed with The Cure now. I could go on and on. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. Hey, that's what it's all about, is bringing you guys on and having you chat. So the less I'm talking, the better, Christian. Motorhead for me, I'm a big, I love punk. I fell in love with it. Once Green Day broke in '94, I was in like 7th grade at that time. And then the skate kids in my little tiny 30,000 person hometown in Alaska, they turned me on to like Pennywise and NoFX and Bad Religion and Face to Face and all this stuff. So I really got into that like 90s skate punk. And then when I heard bands like Motorhead, and then I heard metal bands like Megadeth, I was like, man, they're kind of swimming in the same waters here. I've sort of heard like, oh, Iron Maiden and Motorhead have influenced metal bands and punk bands because they kind of got this kind of chug-a-lug sort of rhythm going on there.
You absolutely had to have been jamming CKY's debut record in '99 when that came out.
So my friends and I, we were watching, I missed the first CKY tape that came out. I think it was called Land Speed. But when CKY 2K came out, that was like our whole summer that year on VHS. And then I even ordered, at that time, you could get like a 2-disc set, like directly from them. One disc was like every song that CKY had put out up to that point, like 20 some tracks, 30 tracks. And then the next disc was all of the Brandon DiCamillo prank phone calls. I don't know if you've ever heard those, but they are
Why did you call my wife and tell my wife what's on her birthday?
The
drive-thrus were the best. A 4 with an orange.
Yeah. And it
Dude, he
makes
was the best.
yeah, it makes the Jerky Boy seem like, you know, tame. Like the just how strange he was, you know?
Dude,
So
Tickabillo
yeah.
was the best. I wish he would come out of hiding. He went away years ago and just like is raising his kid, which I guess you can't blame
Yeah.
him. But he was the funniest. He was low key
Yeah.
the funniest one.
Oh yeah. He was the one where I was like, why isn't this guy like writing movies? Yeah, I wonder he maybe he's ashamed at some of that stuff. But hey, you know, it fit the time and the place.
Oh, he's legend.
So, you know, as far as you know, when you're writing music now, because I hear a lot of your stuff has that kind of synthy sound. Are there any bands from that era, that early 2000s era? Like, I think there was one time when I was listening through your tracks, I was like, "Oh, I pick up a little bit of like Motion City Soundtrack. Is that something that you ever like tapped into as a, you know, as a music fan?
No,
Never heard of them?
I've heard of him. I'm just not a fan, which is weird if it sounds like that. Dude, I mean it. The older I get, the older the music is I listen to.
Yeah.
But like I grew up during the era for sure. Like I
Mhm.
was listening to all that. Like I remember when Fall Out Boy from Under the Cork Tree came out, how huge that was. Hawthorne Heights. Like
Mm.
I lived that era. So like somebody just actually mentioned him. That was one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
I feel like Ghost was like my personal successor to him as the moody goth rock band. But dude, Billy Vallo's voice was incredible. I was a huge fan of them. No, it's weird. I want to try to write more like the stuff I listen to, but it's tough, man. Like it's really hard to write like Blue Oyster Cult or
Mhm.
write like Alice. It's difficult.
That's the trick, right? Is like to like make it an assignment to be like, all right, I'm gonna create something that specifically fits like these parameters,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
just
instead
can't.
of just like,
I can't think about it. And I haven't been writing because I've been so busy with the YouTube channel, but I haven't been writing
mhm,
much lately. I've got some stuff in files that I was working on that I could probably open up and finish. But I also have another band I do. So I keep myself too busy to be honest with you. It's probably not healthy, but
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
sometimes I see the amount of content you put out and I'm like, this is incredible. I mean, you're the shorts alone, you know, or you know, there's so much amazing content out there. It is interesting to, you know, now that it's been what, 10 months or so, I think that I've been doing this, and to see, you know, the amount of output is like, oh my gosh, that's you know, incredible. And you know, something that I'm like, you know, I do ask those questions of like, you know, how do you know, balancing real life with YouTube life, or even when you're just like looking to unplug from all of that, like what do you do to just, you know, push it all out of your head for a moment?
I don't unplug.
Never.
No.
You're on 24/7. Like Andy Kaufman, you never stop.
When I hit 30, which I know will sound silly to some people, maybe even you because you're a little bit older than me, but when I had my 30th birthday, I remember going to sleep that night. My wife is like 2 months older than me, so she had already turned 30 and she was fine. But like I'll never forget when I turned 30, I was laying in bed. We were watching Con Air. I remember the movie we were watching. And I was like, all right, Teddy, I'm tired. You can turn the TV off and we're going to bed. I like woke up at like 2 a.m. and it hit me. I was like, I- I'm 30. Like I didn't think I was not I didn't when I say I didn't think I was gonna make it that far, that's silly. I've had a great life, a blessed life. What I mean is I've gotten to this point of my life. And I just
Mhm.
remember sitting in bed that night, like 2 or 3 a.m. and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking be something, even if it kills me. Like I am sick. I have a great life. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I am going to not bitch or complain or make excuses about anything. I'm just gonna work my ass off. That's it. That's it. So that's what I've been doing, man.
Hell yeah.
There's no secret. I just work my ass off. That's all it is, you know.
Gotcha. So you get home from work and it's straight into the studio, you know, shooting
Well,
something or
studio. Um
yeah, we
I
can
have
call it a
yeah, I have I work at a job where I do 12-hour shifts, and so I'll work 2 days and I'm off 2 days. Let's say I'm on graveyards, like I only 2 weeks of working nights. When I get off work, let's say I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday. When I get home Monday, I'll go to sleep, wake up about 2:33. I'll go running. My wife will kind of get home from work about the same time. We'll eat dinner together. We will relax. When I say I don't turn off, that's not entirely true. We'll relax. We'll have dinner. We'll enjoy each other's company. And about 10:30, Sydney's getting ready for bed. She'll go to bed. I have stuff I write down. I record from 10:30 to 7 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And then I'll do that the next night. And then I go to work 2 days after that. And then I get back. So on night shift, night shift is where I'll film 8 hours worth of stuff.
That's amazing.
And just edit it all and just knock it out. So if I got the flu, you would never know.
Yeah.
You'd never know.
Yeah, I guess, and you probably just work through it. I think I've even seen a couple of videos where
you're
not
like,
necessarily
that.
Not necessarily
that. What I mean is, I record enough stuff to where I could not film anything, and it'd still keep coming out. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the trick, is finding something that like just fits, everything you've got going on. So, I mean, you've got a drive that's like really impressive. And so, it's, it's plain to see, when you go to your channel, so much content there. The channel is just growing so friggin' quickly too. I mean, it's really amazing to see and awesome to see that you're putting in that work and, being rewarded with it pretty heavily there. What's that like, is like, as YouTube, as your channel grows and, it becomes, maybe even a bigger part of your life, has it been so gradual you haven't really noticed it too much? Or did you hit the ground running so hard when you made that decision to get going that you haven't even kind of stopped to, notice too much?
Kind of both. Like when I decided about a year or so ago, okay, Christian, you have to, if you're going to do this, it's not like I quit my job or anything. Obviously I'm still working, but like, if you're going to do this, don't expect fast results, but don't stop. And so I just kept pumping away, trying to make my thumbnails better, trying to make my titles a little bit more interesting, trying to make my video quality better. As a musician, you can understand how I'm somewhat of a mic junkie. So I have a ton of mics. And I would just try to figure out, how can I make my stuff look better, sound better? I would talk to people that were better than me at YouTube. I would go talk to Piz. Okay, so tell me about this. Like, you have this really great depth perception where you've got a real nice, tell me, how are you doing that? What kind of camera, blah, blah, blah. And I would ask people that are better than me how to do stuff. And most of the time they're happy to help, and I would talk to Lee Drum Thumbs about this, or I would talk to, a ton of people. I would just reach out to people and just ask for advice or tips, So I just did all that, and eventually stuff started doing okay. Some of my shorts and videos started doing okay, and YouTube likes, I guess, me uploading a lot. That every now and again, one of my videos will get pushed to the algorithm and do pretty good. There's no secret. That's another thing. Somebody's like, dude, how did you get your channel to start growing? So there's no secret. There's literally no secret. You want to get people, it's the easiest thing in the world to explain, but it's not easy to do. It's like, you have to work at it and put videos on the website. It's tough, man, but I'm literally no better than anybody. I'm not doing anything that nobody else couldn't do whatsoever.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's, the just gauging that person's like comfortability, really. It's just like when somebody goes on to YouTube, they want to see something that's a little more real. They want to see something that's maybe like polished, but not too polished. They're kind of looking for that perfect in between, And I think that's that's like, for a lot of people, the secret sauce is just their personality, and people just happen to dig it, you know?
I learned that the hard way. You know, because years ago it was, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. No, it doesn't work. People can watch the fake stuff on TV. They can watch the
Yeah.
fake stuff on Netflix. They can watch the fake stuff on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
What I found out what worked is one time I was doing a show with Brandon, probably on Planet Dirty or whatever. And we at first were trying to theme a show, and then eventually we started talking about Burger King stuff. And the people were just like they were into it.
Yeah.
Or we just had a conversation, and like I'm a Howard Stern kid. And so
Mm-hmm.
there are times where you don't need to confess your whole life on the internet, but I think every now and again, if you can be vulnerable to your audience,
Mm-hmm.
dude, it goes a long way, you know? And so I tried to start being like that on my live streams or shows. Like, you don't have to ask me questions about trivia or movies or this, but like
Mm-hmm.
we could just talk about whatever. It's like, yeah, we love movies, but guess what? We also pay bills. We also, you know, we bleed if we get cut. Like we can talk about whatever, guys. It doesn't have to even be movies.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I started getting, man. And that's also why I changed my channel, because like I was at a point to where if I was gonna only talk about horror, I don't know if I've told you, but like there was a point where my channel was called Christian Hannah Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Davey, I was when I say I was this close to stopping completely, I was that close. I didn't tell the internet about it. They didn't know, but I was telling my wife, I was like, Sydney, I think I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Like I love horror, but like I'm sick of talking about it every single video.
Yeah, just being exclusive on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind
Well,
of
not
an
only that,
odd struggle.
you gotta understand this too, Dave. I was a physical media channel too. So now narrow that down even more.
Yeah,
It was the best
true.
decision I ever made. I wouldn't be where I'm at if I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of cover whatever you want, you know? I think that there's that one side of it that's, YouTube may reward you if you have a channel that's just focused on one single thing. And then of course you'll have a section of your
Mhm.
audience that's really into that. I mean, we're horror leaning here on the channel, but we talk about all sorts of stuff, or just kind of whatever I'm
And there's nothing
interested
wrong
in
with
is sort
that.
of the
I'm not for me, I was like, Jesus Christ, Christian, like you just got this incredible Lionsgate steel box of all 5 or all the Rambo films. You're a huge Stallone fan, and you're not even gonna talk about it. Like I'm telling myself
mm,
this.
mhm,
And it
yeah.
was just this is when I was like, Christian, you have to change.
Hmm.
You can't do this. So that's when I swapped everything to what it is now, and I've never been happier with YouTube. It's not even necessarily that I need to talk about, Stuart Little, but I know I can if I want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I really like is when I'm perusing around and I see a short of yours pop up, and it's just, you hanging out and you're like, "Hey guys, have you ever seen this movie?" And you bring up some movie that it's like I'm like, "Oh my God, I used to watch that when I was a kid. I haven't seen it in years." It's like it's a great little reminder, of like, hey, there's so much awesome media out there that we either forget about or maybe somebody missed when they were growing up. And finding somebody on YouTube is a great opportunity to get exposed to something that you may have missed the first time around.
Mhm.
Like over over here, my wife and I have a show where we talk about, it's called Movie Date with Davey and Kate, and we talk about
Yeah.
movies that we know really well. And so that's like the stipulation is we both have to know the movie really well, so it's limited in what we can cover. I want to cover Fletch so bad, but every time I put out a poll, Fletch gets completely destroyed in the poll. And I'm basically resigned myself to like, well, the next time my birthday rolls around, we'll just do Fletch because I just want to do Fletch because it's
Well,
one of my favorite movies of all time. And I
I
know
I'll
you're
I'll
a big
reserve
fan as well.
I'll reserve judgment on your audience, but, no,
Me
I'm
too. I
kidding.
try to. No, I try to. Well, I think,
Dude,
and a lot of people just haven't seen it, right? It's one of those movies, like people know Christmas Vacation, maybe they know Caddyshack, maybe they know The First Vacation, but like
sh
for most people, when they think of Chevy, they don't think of Fletch unless they grew up in
for
that era or they, dove back.
I don't know what it is, Dave. For some reason, people cling to Bill Murray stuff more than Chevy.
Mm,
Now, I never understood why it was that I liked Chevy more than Bill until I heard Tarantino kind of describe it. Like Chevy doesn't change his convictions in his movie whatsoever. He's a he's a buffoon in the start of the movie. He's somewhat cocky and arrogant, and he's the same way at the end. And Bill is a buffoon idiot in the beginning of the movie. He sees the error of his ways, then he's
mhm.
the nice guy at the end. There's something about Chevy not changing who he is. That's so fucking
Yeah.
punk rock to me.
He
And to me, Chevy is so good at timing and the
Yes.
physical comedy stuff.
Yeah.
You remember Caddyshack 2? Caddyshack 2 is ridiculously bad, but there's a scene where they go to see him and he's playing pool and he just goes to put the pool stick back on the rack and he makes a mess and he's just like, "Oh, sorry, excuse me. Oh, that's no problem." And the pool sticks are flying everywhere. It's so stupid. But
Yeah.
he's the king at that. I love Chevy. I always will. And I'm so happy that Chevy is in a good place today.
Yeah.
He's got his family. He's going out. He's doing conventions, and the audiences are saying he's never been friendlier. He's never been happier.
Mhm.
I read Chevy's book. I don't know if people realize the childhood that poor guy had. It was bad, very very bad. Like I can't describe it on the internet, kind of
Oh,
stuff.
geez.
So Chevy was a troubled, and a lot of those comedians are like
Yeah.
they didn't have good lives.
Comedy can come from a really dark place, you
Very dark.
know, and that need to or, finding that escape in a club, usually at a young age, and relating with people that are completely outside of your family. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, Chevy is to me, it's yeah, that cadence and that rhythm. I mean, the timing of like, you can oh, did I lose you guys? Are you there?
You there? Your cameras
Hello.
come up. Your camera went off.
I don't know what it's funny. It doesn't happen every time, but it happens every once in a while. All right, we're back. Yeah, Chevy's just got that you can recite one of his lines from a movie, but to say he hits it in this way that's so specific.
Yeah.
It's like trying to play a guitar Brian May guitar solo. Like, yeah, you can play the notes, but are you really going to sound like Brian May? And
Yeah,
like
exactly.
and I think like maybe, Bill is a little bit more of that, it's not as polished with Bill. I don't think. I think it's comes from a little bit more of like a natural place, whereas Chevy to me seems like very well rehearsed, but it's not supposed to feel like it's very well rehearsed. And
Mhm.
yeah, I know he went through that really rough patch, when he was on Community, which
Community.
I haven't
He was
even
so
gone through
funny on
that
the
show.
show. He was
Yeah.
so good on Community, but Chevy didn't get it. Chevy's one of those guys that just like he never kept up with culture and he
Hmm.
never kept up with stuff. He was so funny, but he says like the show makes it's not funny to me. I don't get it. The Community was hysterical. I
Yeah.
loved Chevy on Community.
Yeah,
So
he is that was actually going to be my one of my start bench cuts for you here, and I guess I can just bring that up. Um, kind of like, you know, fuck Mary Kill, although I just feel a little bit better about start bench cut. Not sure if you're a sports fan, Christian. But yeah, I was
good,
going to
yeah.
do start bench cut with Fletch Caddyshack and the First Vacation film.
Gun to the head.
Nah.
I'll take the gun to the head.
It is really
So
tough.
I'm assuming the way this start and bench start means basically the one I love the most. Bench means
Yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3 pretty much,
okay.
yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Fletch Caddyshack and the First Vacation.
Yeah.
Oh God. Um.
I know
Okay,
it's
so
not fair.
I think to me, I have to say that I think that the First Vacation is probably one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. To where
Mhm.
by myself I laugh watching it. Physically out loud chuckle. So I'm gonna start Vacation. Dude, there's no way in hell I'm cutting Caddyshack, and I'm gonna tell you why. The ensemble of the judge, who is honestly the funniest one in the movie.
Ted Knight. Oh my
The
God, he's
judge,
amazing in
yeah,
that movie.
his timing and his vigor in that
Yeah.
movie. Or when Rodney pulls up, when Rodney pulls up and he's
Yeah.
like, "This is my friend Mr. Wang. I'll take 3 of those. Give me 6 of those. Give me 2 of those."
Yeah.
Boy, look at this hat. That's an ugly hat. And when he goes, "Well,
Yeah.
you buy this hat, you get a free bowl of soup. Looks good on you, though." I swear, if I watch that with if me and my dad watch that, we're in tears. We're
Yeah.
in tears. And Chevy is arguably at his best in Caddyshack. I mean, when he's, dating the blonde hair girl and he's doing "I was
Mhm.
born," singing the song and
Yeah.
stuff. I can't cut Caddyshack. Caddyshack is too legendary. You really put me in a tough spot, but I will cut Fletch. But it really hurts.
And I will
But
shed a
to
tear
me,
for Fletch.
to me, Vacation, I think to me, if you ask me what's the greatest comedy of all time, to me it's Vacation. I love Vacation.
Yeah, I'm a huge original Vacation fan. I mean, I love Christmas Vacation, but I would take the original any day of the week.
Yeah.
There it is.
Right
Yeah.
there.
And he's
there's
kind of got like, oh,
there's
there it is.
Caddyshack.
Yeah. Judge Smales with his whole like,
Gambling is
Danny,
legal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slice.
well, and then when he's like, Danny, he says something like, I've put young men younger than you in the chair. Didn't want to, felt I owed it to them. Like just his like the way he really like relishes every line, and just him saying like Spaulding,
It's so good.
It's absurd. Telling
so
Chevy
funny.
to put the steering wheel on the right side of the vehicle. Ty, quit fooling around. You put that steering wheel on the right side of the vehicle and get it off this. Yeah. It's
Oh
amazing.
man, he's so good. So
Yeah.
good. That must be the T. Like the whole movie is just so hysterical.
Yeah,
Oh man, I
it
love
is
it.
an amazing ensemble. I mean, there's so many great performances in there, some from people we never really saw again, but so happy that they're there,
Oh, dude.
And you were talking about how Chevy's like a buffoon all the way through. And I kind of get like, especially in the original Vacation, there's like a little bit of like a, something that must have inspired a character like Homer Simpson, where it's just like the dumb optimist that's like quick to anger, but quick to be happy. It just sort of reminded me of that. And then wait, did you say the baseball team in your hometown was the Zephyrs? Is that what you said? So that's that. I thought of the Simpsons when you were talking about that earlier too, because when they have Homer at the bat, the jersey that Mr. Burns wears says Zephyrs on
Oh,
it.
really?
Like
Oh,
that's like
wow.
his old, no one else wears that jersey. He just wears his manager's jersey that says Zephyrs on it. It's I don't know why. The Simpsons is just something that was such a big part of my upbringing that it just pops up randomly sometimes.
Do me a favor, dude, just for me, because I do my best. Sprinkle some Chevy on your channel, dude, because
All right.
he's the man. I want him to stay alive and well and healthy, and some of his movies are still just like, oh, they're so, like, to me, Funny Farm has to be one of the most unsung, great little cozy comedies ever. I love Funny Farm so much.
That was Chevy got a lot of play like in my house growing up. Like we rented all those movies. I mean, I watched Cops and Robertsons. That was another one. Even watched the Memoir of the Invisible Man when that came out on VHS. Foul Play with Goldie Hawn.
Oh God, classic.
That's
Spies Like Us.
Oh God,
dude. He has a great filmography. The 90s are a little rough.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, when you end the decade of the 80s with Fletch Lives and Christmas Vacation, besides Jim Carrey's 1994, I don't know how you beat that.
Jim Carrey's 94 was pretty awesome. And I don't know what it is. Like Fletch is one of those movies. My wife and I will watch that like, I don't know, sometimes 3 or 4 times a year.
Dude,
like,
hell yeah.
It's so easy. It's so digestible. We'll just be like, hey, you want to just put on Fletch?
That's the thing about I'm sorry.
He's just so charming. No. Go ahead. You're the guy.
Because I can get going. If you get me talking about Chevy, I'll get going. His movies have this really great cozy quality. They're very cozy. Like I love going to bed watching a Chevy movie. You go to bed happy. It puts you in a real good mood. You wake up feeling great. It's medicine. Those movies. Like Funny Farm is the best movie to watch going to sleep. hands down, because it's a low energy film.
Yeah.
It's not a sad movie. It's very funny, but like it's not like an explosive, fast paced boom like
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. It's very, fishing the snake out of the lake, and like it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it.
Yeah, eating Rocky Mountain oysters, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, and it's almost like Chevy is, on the one hand, and this is just kind of occurring to me now. It's almost like the buffoonery is sort of like, we all see the buffoonery like within ourselves, right? So it's sort of like there's that bit of relatability with, how he plays or he works that into a lot of his characters. But then there's also the charming, like effortlessness of it all too, that we all wish we had.
Right.
He's very, very
Absolutely.
quick and very like hilarious. I mean, in Fletch, he is, so charming. He could have like, any woman in the whole movie if he wanted to, essentially. And just little things like, Dr. Rosenrose, Dr. Rosen, Dr. Rosen, Dr. Or the whole thing with like Babar, like, does it have 2 B's in it? And he's like, oh no, just 1 B. And he's like, BAR. That's 2. And he's like, yeah, but not right next to each other. Just these little things that he sneaks in there.
Dude, yeah.
Sierra del Fuego, fucking taco. Just what the hell?
River.
Yeah. Got the whole fist up there, Doc?
Oh,
After
man.
visiting with Dr. Jellyfinger, we could just sit here and quote all of our random lines from
all day.
from Fletch.
All day.
What kind of name is Poon anyway? Comanche Indian.
Oh, man.
So what is it about the younger generation that do they not know that Fletch exists? Is that what it is, Christian? It's up to you, and now it's up to me. You've bestowed it upon me to jump in there.
Well, to answer the question seriously, I don't really know. I think comedy's really is kind of a dead thing today. And especially the comedies back then, because a lot of them were rated R. Like I was taken aback a few years ago when I remembered, like, oh, Vacation was rated R.
Yeah.
And that you don't see much movies like that anymore. So it is kind of like a dead art form. Like, you want to talk about, like, and so I think people will find them. I had to find Chevy stuff on my own. I did not grow up watching Chevy stuff. Once I got a little bit older, I remember I got some Saturday Night Live DVDs, and I saw Chevy doing Weekend Update, and I was like, this guy's hysterical. And this was like 2009, 8. So I found Chevy on my own. And so I think a lot of the younger people will probably do the same. And then when I was watching Caddyshack, I was like, who is this wide-eyed guy? And then I looked into Rodney, and I was obsessed. I love Rodney. Rodney is my favorite stand-up. One of my favorite stand-up comedians. Like, his one-liners, you want to talk about delivery too. Rodney, dude, MGM 95, if you can watch that concert of Rodney, he was older, but he still had that speed of his one-liners, and it's one of my favorite stand-ups of all time. He is just destroying the crowd. MGM 95. It's on YouTube. It is a ball-busting show. He was so good there.
Yeah, and he came on so late, but he just had this like firecracker energy to him.
Oh, incredible.
It's just there's no one like him. I don't think.
He would go on he would go on Johnny Carson and just destroy the crowd. Johnny didn't even talk.
Yeah.
He was just gonna say, how you doing today, Rodney? And Rodney would go and go and go. And then he would go,
yeah.
Oh, so really? What's that? And then Rodney would go just destroy the crowd. Destroy the crowd.
It's like Robin Williams was kind of that way too, where it's just like he shows up on someone's show and there it is. Now it's Robin's show.
Oh, dude. When Robin Williams went on Inside the Actors Studio, that big show with James Lipton, remember that? I wish I could find those episodes. They used to be on YouTube, but they got pulled and it's hard to find them. But I'll never forget watching Robin Williams on James Lipton's Inside the Actors Studio. He's supposed to sit down and James Lipton goes through his filmography with him. Robin gets on stage, and before he sits down, he does like this 15-minute thing as a character actor, being like a preacher at like a big Baptist church or
Yeah.
something, getting loud. And he has this woman in the crowd laughing so hard. She's crying. She's beet red. And she looks like she's having a seizure from laughing.
She's
The crowd,
hyperventilating. Yeah.
I can picture it in my head. It was probably like 97, 98 when they were doing these. Dude, it was so funny. I wish I could find it. Maybe I can. I have to search the internet, but I'll never forget that. That was a great show. I don't know if you ever watched any of those.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I remember Stallone did one. Michael J. Fox did one. Johnny Depp did one. John Goodman did an incredible episode. And that's one of my other favorites is John Goodman, because he lived in New Orleans. I think he still does. At least he has a house in New Orleans.
Nice.
And we used to see him at the Save-A Center grocery center when I was a kid.
That's wild.
He'd always have a ball cap on. He'd kind of cover his face, and he would,
Yeah.
And I always wanted to meet him, but my mom was kind of like, you got to leave him alone. Because I was a big Flintstones fan as a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, I wish I would have let my mom just let me go up to him. But, I used to see him all the time, just grocery shopping.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I always loved John Goodman. He was always one of my favorites, too.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it is amazing, like all the, throughout the time of comedy, like you were saying, with where things are at right now, it's like, man, there aren't really R-rated comedies anymore. There isn't, a lot of comedies from the 80s, like you were saying, there's either nudity in them or a whole bunch of really crass humor. Do you think we'll ever come back around to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think there'll be a point where eventually we're like, I don't want to get political, but like eventually people are going to have to just like let go and just let people be funny again.
Yeah.
And make fun of everybody, because eventually it's like, we're going to have nothing left to laugh at. It's like everything's going to be off limits. And it's like, it can't be that way. I understand there's some stuff. It's like, okay, that's pushing it. I understand that. And I'm okay with that. we don't need to be downright disrespectful, but it's just like, how many times do you watch a comedy that's from like 88, 87, 98? Like for instance, Norm Macdonald's Dirty Work. It's like watching that. I'm sure there was a lot of moments where you would say, oh, that would get him in trouble today. That would get him in trouble today. That would get him like Artie Lang opening his mouth in 2024 would just get him in trouble. So it's, I don't know, man. That's why I say buy physical media, because I think they're making episodes of The Simpsons disappear on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I think half the Michael Jackson stuff, you probably know better than me. I hear that's gone. Like there's Michael Jackson episodes that are just gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know if there's like Apu-centric episodes that they take out or whatever, because I know Hank Azaria isn't doing he doesn't do that voice anymore. And yeah, I mean, it seems like there's, stand-up comedy is where you can be edgy, but it's almost like true. Now if they write it into a movie, it almost seems like people see that as, as saying that those viewpoints are okay, instead of saying that, oh, this is actually a joke. And usually I find that the joke is actually made at the person that's saying the thing that's like hurtful or hateful. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like Job in Arrested Development, like everything that he says that's like homophobic or racist, it's like, because he's a really, dumb guy.
Same thing with like Michael Scott from The Office, like, with Oscar. It's like the humor is how ignorant Michael is, but I also think too that the big budget comedies have gone away so much with studios and for so many years that it's almost like, oh, well, we can't spend the money to do this. It's going to be a mess, or it's going to flop.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's definitely true, because they spend so much money on getting stars and marketing and everything like that. Let's see here. Have you seen The Fletch with John Hamm? Speaking of movies that went,
I have it on my queue. I haven't watched it. I'm going to go into that with an open mind, though. I really am.
I think we really like it here. My wife and I, we've watched it like maybe 4 or 5 times. It's a really good, like, new version of it that's still funny. it maintains a little bit of that humor that's in the that I've heard is in the books, and then a little bit of that Chevy, but maybe a little more grounded as far as the comedy goes. But that's my favorite John Hamm performance that I've seen.
Wow, I'm excited then, because I haven't
Yeah.
looked up a review or heard anybody talk about it. So
Yeah, it's
very,
a
very
fun
cool.
and most importantly, I think the reason why Fletch works is like the story of like the mystery behind the crime and everything works really well. I think
Excellent.
especially
Oh,
in
it's
that
so
first
relieving to
movie, and I
hear.
think that that's what works in this one as well. So, there it is. Yep. Or you mean Confess Fletch, Kate, because it's called Confess Fletch. I think
Yeah.
it's based on the very first book he had. Well, Christian, it's been so awesome having you on, man. I got to get over or bring Ken and Ashley on here because they've got work early in the morning. So I want to bring them on here before it gets too late.
Sure.
But it's been awesome having you on, man, and getting to know you a little bit. I wanted to talk about your new dog because I saw that you guys adopted a dog just this last week. Is that right?
Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield, the dog. All right.
He's
Well,
a pug,
we'll have to
yeah.
bring you on another time and have a chat about
Sure.
Rodney Dangerfield, the dog. We've got
But
3.
if I'm ever
cats.
doing a Planet Dirty, if I'm live and you're in the chat and you're free, just shoot me a message. You could hop on.
Hell yeah,
Hop on
man.
with us.
Awesome. And
So-
then yeah, we'll have to dive into some Chevy talk and man, dirty work. I could talk about dirty work forever.
Okay, yeah,
One of
we
my
definitely
most
do.
viewed videos or most
Love
viewed
Norm.
movies.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, guys. I don't even have to say it. The links are in the description below for Christian's channel, Planet CHH, but I'm guessing everyone in here subs over there. If not, what are you doing over here? How did you find me? Get over there. Give him a sub. Thank you so much again, Christian. Have a great rest of your night, man.
Take care.
Peace out. All right. Guys, we are not going to hold up any longer. Ken and Ashley have been amazing hanging out here in the waiting room, as it were, behind the scenes. So I'm just going to bring them right in. They're fresh off a franchise ranking live stream they just did, and I'm keeping them up late. So let's give them a warm welcome, everyone in the chat. Please say hello to Ashley and Ken from Sledgehammer Horror. What's happening, guys?
What up?
Hey.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for staying up late for us here. How are y'all doing tonight?
I wore a tie too. You know,
Yeah. He's better dressed than I am.
dressed and ready to
You're
go.
all
man.
dressed up. What is that patch there on the? What is that there?
It's
on the
actually a
dress?
Candyman shirt.
Okay.
Just
Oh,
can't really
nice.
see it, but yeah, Candyman shirt.
Yeah.
You know, I need to get a tie. See, you're even though it's a t-shirt and a tie, I think I don't know. Does it look? Do I look too Miami Vice? Do I need a tie? Let me know in the chat, guys. Should I tie it up? Should I do something weird like a bow tie with the separation?
There you
right
go.
there?
You should.
The problem child bow tie.
Yes.
Yeah.
A big old bow tie.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us out there in Michigan,
Mhm.
my wife's home state. Now, are you guys right in
Okay.
the city? Or are you just right outside of the city there?
No, we're actually in southern Michigan. We're about an hour away from Detroit now.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Kate, she grew up in Detroit a little bit and then White Lake for
Okay.
some of her time out
Tyler
there.
wanted to see the Coheed tat. It's a Iron
Oh,
Fist
nice.
from the Afterman. Yeah, we're big Coheed fans. Actually, Josh, the drummer, is a really good friend of ours, and he was actually just recently in a car accident. He's fine. It was pretty scary, but they'll always be super special to us because, like I said, Josh's wife is from Michigan too. So, you know, he's just one of the most amazing people on the planet, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, Coheed, they're one of those bands where like I've heard a handful of songs. I've just never done like a dive and sat and listened to a record. I don't have any reason why. I liked what I heard because if I remember correctly, it's like, you know, there's certainly like a kind of a poppy edge to it, but it's also like a little like prog rocky, you know,
Super
little
prog
elements
rock.
of that. And then the very high, like kind of falsetto vocal that, you know, they
Right.
work in there as
Well, it's
well.
funny because like our daughter's name is Chloe, and I knew I was going to name my daughter Chloe in 7th grade. The Coheed record, Second Stage Turbine Blade. There's a song on
You
that.
didn't even say Chloe.
I know, but there's a song on that record. It's called Everything Evil, and in the song, you know, the ending of the song, yeah, K-Line's my dude. Also, you know, I rep Detroit. Kate, thank you very much. In Yeah, Josh and Julie are both great. 33 is amazing. But they have a song called Everything Evil, and in the end of that song, he sings, and she screamed Claudio. Oh, well, I thought he said Chloe O when I was a kid. You know, like I just heard I heard Chloe O, and I knew then that my daughter would be named Chloe, and like I was like, that's the most beautiful name. That's gonna be my daughter's name if I'm ever lucky enough to have a little girl, and sure enough, our daughter's name is Chloe. I had to fight for it, but.
I think you had to fight more for naming our son Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny. We have Kenny, Chloe, and Kenley, and Kenley is a mix between Ken and Ashley. So
there you go.
Just all three of them. And the first song I heard Tyler was June Song Provision Acoustic was the first Coheed track I heard, and I loved it. I just loved it so much, and they're just some of the coolest people in the world. We go see them every time they come around here, and nothing but love for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Big Rod, I'm the same way. I like a lot of bands' early stuff.
I still did. Like the last Coheed record is probably my least favorite they've done, but the Afterman is actually my favorite. Like the whole Afterman record, the first and second half, Ascension and Descension. I think that's my favorite record of theirs. I think it's so damn good.
Yeah, I definitely think there are some of those bands that are like, you know, no matter what, you're sort of ride or die. Or for whatever reason, like sometimes there's a band from Princeton, New Jersey called Saves the Day that I really love. And I felt like every time like I grew up or there was a different chapter in my life, it was like they were growing up with me. So even though the band kind of changed, I was like, oh, wow, this is like still relevant to what's going on.
Want to hear a super funny Saves the Day story?
Go for it.
So I'm not trying to do like the pat myself on the back thing or anything, but Chris is a good friend of mine too. And the song that Ashley and I danced to, our first dance was Undress Me by Saves the Day. And for our anniversary, Chris did a Zoom call with me, and he played Undress Me acoustic, and me and Ashley danced in our living room to
oh my God,
Chris playing and singing Undress Me. You can actually find it on my daughter's YouTube channel. We uploaded it there because we didn't want to put it on Sledgehammer Horror, but I probably should. But
why the heck not?
Yeah, it was right. Yeah, Chris came on and played Undress Me for us, and we danced together in the living room. And it was Saves. Obviously, at the end of every episode, we end it with "Stay What You Are," you know, because Saves the Day is so important to us too.
Yeah. So, do you guys grew up listening to them?
Oh yeah.
Because I found that, you know, listening to all the Epitaph stuff, all that skate punk stuff, and then the first time I heard Saves the Day, I was like, oh, it has those elements, but it's a little something different. You know, a little more polish, a little more like sensitive. Let's just say.
Definitely. I found Saves on Much Music back when Fuse was called Much Music, and it was the video for Through Being Cool.
Shoulder to the Wheel.
Yeah, Shoulder to the Wheel, the third track on that record. And dude, I just remember the "We Drive Day Steps." I was like, this is a fucking awesome. And I remember downloading that record on Napster.
There you go.
And just like how blown away I was by like Rock's Tonic Juice Magic, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you're hearing a punk band drop the beat, you know, heart is on the floor. I was like, whoa, this is fucking sick, dude.
The production on those records, like Steve Evans, because he went and did, I don't know if you guys are fans of Lifetime, but they're one of my favorite bands.
Oh yeah.
They're from New Brunswick, New Jersey, and Steve Evans did their 2 records. And then he came over and he did like the first 2 Saves the Days. And Through Being Cool is just one of those records where like the drums really pop. I love albums that kind of have the drums a little bit loud. Like I really love that about that record. And it was kind of cool because I'd imagine you guys are somewhere around the same age. I was like, oh, this is awesome that these guys are like my contemporaries. Like I can listen to a band they're probably like a year older than me or something like that.
The cool thing is, do you know that Fall Out Boy auditioned Patrick into the band by playing Through Being Cool all the way through? That was his audition to be in Fall Out Boy.
That was really?
Yeah, swear to God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would imagine he could probably sing Saves the Day songs really well. I am not a fan of Fall Out Boy, but I can certainly see how they sort of fit that same, you know.
I really liked Take This to Your Grave when it was released. I thought it was really dope. I was never really big on From Under the Cork Tree. It wasn't really my cup of tea back then. But like, I don't know what the record is, but the one that they just released recently, they had like My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark, Alone Together, You Were My Picket Fence, I Miss Missing You, whatever. The one that had Elton John on it, like that record was dope, dude, from front to back. And like, it was so, I don't know. Because Fall Out Boy is one of those bands like that. It's kind of like Blink, Green Day, Newfound Glory, like that type of pop punk era to me. Every time one of those bands releases a new record, I'm always going to check it out. Like I'm always going to listen to it just to see, you know, if there's something I dig on it. And it's funny because like we grew up in an area that's super, super conservative. And so like punk rock and horror movies was like the most rebellious shit you could do.
Like you were the outcast if you liked those type of movies, or
right.
like
Listen to that music.
yeah,
listen
to that music.
So I was like the Bob from Salt Lake City Punk. Like I was Bob. And Ashley was like Jason Segel's. Yeah, she was like Jason Segel's character, to where she was like punk, but she didn't wear the outfit. You know what I mean? Like she didn't have to wear a punk uniform. Like she was into horror movies. Like she loved all. Like we've been going to see, like we went to see the Ataris in the shelter, and it was literally like us and like 30 other people.
It was a very like small,
just so intimate.
It was very intimate.
The only time I think I've ever been nervous meeting someone,
I was like, go talk to him.
I'll
take your picture.
Yeah, Chris Rowe from the Ataris. I was like, oh my god, that's Chris Rowe.
And like
she was like, go talk to him. I was like, no,
literally
it's okay.
like what, you weren't even smiling in the picture.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I was
like,
he was like, I got 5 minutes. He was like, I got a couple minutes.
Yeah, I got a couple minutes. I got to take a piss. Yeah. I was like, it's fine. You know, like I was all nervous and shit. But dude, Chris Rowe's just been another one of my huge, dude. Like the first time I heard Sam Demas, like my mind was
my god. Yeah.
You know, like even now when I hear that kick snare, like I'm just like, here we go. Like I get amped. Like because I started my life playing drums. I got a drum kit when I was 8, you know, and I just started playing drums. And I was like, man, I can't write music on drums. So then I started playing like guitar, that morphed into bass, to piano. So I started doing like a bunch of shit, and I was in punk bands from the time I was like 13 until I was like 22. I was in the same band. We were called Hearts Bleed Black, actually. And you know, we had so much fun, and like we did like a 5-city tour. It was like Detroit, Chicago. We ended in Bemidji, Minnesota. And when we played in Bemidji, Minnesota, we opened for Funeral for a Friend. And it was the coolest shit in the world. I saw The Used. I actually have a Lies for the Liars tattoo as well. Couple band tattoos. I got Lies for the Liars. I got My Heart Bleeds No More, Silverstein, a yellow cat, red cat for Say Anything. And then the Iron Fist for Coheed.
Nice.
But yeah, like punk was so important to us. Like not as much Ashley. She was like, you know, I love the music, but again, I'm not going to wear your uniform. I'm not going to dye my hair. Like
I felt like
I took it to one extreme. She was like the other. Like I'm just going to be me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, my chem, absolutely loved my chem.
Yeah, my chem is really interesting because they were, you know, I kind of missed their first wave of popularity. I was still, you know, I think I dove at that point like more into hardcore in the early 2000s. There's this band from Philly called Paint It Black, and it's you know, one of the guys from Lifetime, and they're just like a really tough hardcore band, and for whatever reason that really spoke to me, and I kind of got away from like the stuff that I saw as like hair, you know, the neo hair band kind of stuff. But man, listening to My Chemical Romance through Kate, like she kind of turned me on to them, and just realizing that, oh man, the songwriting quality is amazing here. Like we're talking Queen level songwriting with obviously, you know, you bring in Rob Cavallo, who is Green Day's producer, and so he gives him that slick Green Day polish, and it's just, you know, really, really good shit. I feel like such a fool now for having poo-pooed it and not listened to it. I even thought, like, when I first saw Motion City Soundtrack, I was like, oh god, the friggin' hair. And then I listened to their record and I'm like, oh geez, I'm a jerk.
Tell me that you're all right.
Yeah, that I'm like, this is the smartest like pop punk that I've heard in such a long time. And like pop punk, that's the bread and butter. I mean, I'm a Descendants guy, so it's like, you know, this is just a natural evolution of something like that, you know.
Well, you're talking about like Motion City soundtrack, there's nothing catchier than the end of When You're Around. I can't fucking stand it. Like that is so fucking like catchy and great.
Oh yeah.
It's like a sing-alongable thing, like when you're live. See, like, but and then like you go back to that type of pop punk, like the Starting Line. I was huge on the Starting Line. The Ataris. I'm trying to think of some bands that me and you went to see. Coheed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, where did we go that you like ate the fan cupcakes and
that was Saves the Day.
Fucking freezing and all I wanted to do was
dude
go home.
When we first met Chris from Saves the Day, like I literally sat there talking to him and like it was freezing. Like it was negative degrees outside.
These like fan made
cupcakes. I was like, I'll eat it to make sure they're fine, Chris.
I was like, I'm not eating that cupcake.
I'll jump on the grenade for you, bro.
Yeah, you have to, right?
In the car, like, Ken, we gotta go. I was like, fuck you guys,
it was so
man.
cold. It was like Michigan winter,
but we like connected. Like me and Chris, like we had this like weird connection. Like we just talked about like music and life, and like he was talking to me about like Buddhism and like love and shit. And I was just like, you are the coolest fucking guy. I don't agree with what you're saying, but your passion makes me want to listen to you talk about it.
Yeah. Also, I was go.
No, go ahead.
Dive into the crowd, and you like wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I was so.
Me.
Well, the first time, like one of the first times we've seen Coheed, we had early access passes. We had VIP passes, so we got to go in and have like an intimate thing with them. And then like we were right at the front, and I can't remember who opened for them, but it was a super hardcore band. And the dude behind us was like, "I'm gonna slam into him," and I was just ready to. I elbowed the dude in the face. I was like, "You're not gonna get anywhere near my fucking wife."
Yeah,
dude. I was defend her to the death.
That happens at shows. There's been I mean, for the most part, like. People are pretty cool at concerts, but man, I've had a couple people where I'm just like, dude, you're standing on my dick. Like, get off of me right now. You know, like,
I agree, Brad, about Seosin.
Super drunk too, and like security was trying to find them because they were doing it to a bunch of people.
And I was getting pissed, dude. Like, I'm really honestly like very calm most of the time. I'm pretty easygoing, easy to get along with. But if you try to fuck with my wife or my kids, I'm pretty aggressive pretty quickly.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you on your franchise tier ranking. I heard you talking.
Yeah, dude. Like, don't talk to my kids, man. Like, don't do it.
At some point, somebody's gonna do something that makes you bring that dog out. You know,
you have to. And my thing is, especially when, like I said, we were talking on the franchise thing. We were talking about being in New York. You know, and having homeless people come up and talking to my kids and asking my 4-year-old for money to feed their dog. And it's like, I would have happily gave you money, but get the fuck away from me. Like, you're talking to my 4 and 7-year-old. Like, I don't know you. I don't know what your goal is with my children. Get the fuck away.
My kids don't need to be exposed to like your lifestyle right now at this point in their lives. So thank you very much.
You know what I mean? Like, they're kids. They're 4 and 7. That's why I got pissed off. Like, and I don't want to sound insensitive because feel
sorry. You know,
right. I would have helped you. I don't mind, giving some money. What you can make more. I don't give it. I hate money. Everybody knows me knows that. I hate it. But like when you start talking to my kids and trying to like guilt trip my 7-year-old into giving you money, I get really angry really quick. So let's talk about positive shit. I know. Yeah. She was more like where I was more like punk. And then I loved like Penfold. You were totally emo.
I know.
Like I got into like Penfold and like I'm trying to think like Owen, American football, stuff like that.
Oh my god, holy crap. Now you're talking Owen and American football. Really good shit, man.
Mike Kinsella is amazing. She likes American football. She likes the Postal Service.
I do like
Death Camp for Cutie. I'm trying to think. Last Days of April was a big one for her. We tried to start a GoFundMe to get Last Days of April to come over here, over the pond, so they could play shows here in the States, just so we could go catch them. If you guys have never heard the song, The Days I Recall Being Wonderful, by Last Days of April, and Alcohol and Aspirins, those are two fantastic songs. And like I said, they're like a European emo band, but they're so damn good, man. Like The Days I Recall Being Wonderful is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my entire life. It's beautiful, like such a beautiful Oh my God, so good,
Mm-hmm.
so good.
I see, and I've totally missed this band, so I need to check him out because
I'll
if it's
DM
in
you
that
some
same
shit, man.
vein, yeah,
Dude.
because
Yeah,
I
if you dig like Owen and like American football, like that math rock shit, you'll love Last Days of April. Like it's like that. Kate just said Chiodos. We opened for Chiodos, my band did, at the MySpace Internet Cafe.
Oh wow.
In Michigan. And
Yeah, Chiodos
honestly, I
is
hate
really
to be
fun.
that guy, man. Craig Owens was a dick.
Really?
He was a total dick, man. And this is like
I feel like I went to that.
you were. That was the night Nick died.
I feel like I was like 15 years old or something. Yeah.
Our friend had taken his own life right before we went on stage. I got the phone call from my sister. And we literally played the show with all three of our band members like holding back tears the whole time because one of our best friends, who my sister named her son after, one of our best friends growing up, he had taken his own life, and we found out literally minutes before we went on stage.
Oh jeez.
Because my sister tried to call and I was like, I'll call her back, and then she called right back, and I was like, oh no,
yeah,
you know. And then I found out, and that was rough. But yeah, he was a total dick to us. Like Craig was a total dick, and I was just like, I didn't even. This was when they were still the Chiodos Bros. They weren't even called Chiodos yet. They were still the Chiodos Bros.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like,
so they hadn't
like
popped
they weren't
off
like
too
this
much.
big band yet, you know. And it was just like, damn, man, like that sucks. Like, but again, he was a teenager too, you know. Like, I don't hold it against him. This was 15 years ago, but it was still just a huge bummer.
It is unfortunate when you get to meet somebody and you're like, and then you know you're like, well, who knows? Maybe it's just like they do this every day of their lives. You don't know what kind of day they're having, and
I just found out a friend of mine had taken his own life. You know, so maybe I wasn't in the right state of mind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So this could have been totally on me. Like, I'm definitely willing, because I've heard other people say, like, I love that guy. Like, he was so sweet and so.
I feel like we've had interactions with a lot. Like, people be like, that person's a dick, and then we meet them, and they're So it's just.
Like, and I'm not trying to, like I said, I don't want to like push the guy down, because that was just our one experience with him, and I don't know what he was going through that day, and my mind was kind of foggy too from what I was going through. So he might have just been, you know, being sarcastic and joking, and I just wasn't in the mood for it because I had just lost someone close to me. I don't know. But Atreyu, Someone Standing on My Chest, is a fantastic song. So is the Remembrance Ballad. Those are two amazing songs by Atreyu.
And that's another band that I, you know, was totally aware of. And just for whatever reason, I was just still diving into the punk stuff that I was so obsessed with. I hit this, like, you know, of course it was NoFX, all that kind of stuff. And then like in my early 20s, like huge deep dive into like Elvis Costello and like the Smiths and stuff like that. So I like kind of veered off from the punk, always listen to the punk stuff. It would always be my center, but I'd find like maybe some stuff that I had missed before. Now when you talking about emo, you guys like Jets to Brazil?
You see, like, there's two bands that everyone always loved that I never really got into, and it was Jets to Brazil and Texas Is the Reason. Like,
okay.
Everybody always and I never got into them. Like,
for me, that first Jets to Brazil is one. Yeah. So yeah, actually, so if you're more of like the emo kid, what was it like? What was your speed? I mean, obviously you liked the other stuff enough to go to the shows and everything, but what are some bands you listened to that Ken didn't listen to?
Oh gosh.
If we're going that route, it would probably be radio pop stuff.
Yeah.
Because she was also really into like
I don't think that I just,
wide variety.
Yeah, like I never really just was like I listen to this or I listen to that. Like I could listen to Queen, I can listen to Eminem. Like I love a lot of different music. So it's like
she just preferred like Death Cab and stuff like that to NoFX or what was the other one that I used to listen to? The Rancid. She fucking hated Rancid and Anti-Flag. You gotta die for your government. Like she hated that shit. But yeah, we like, and it's funny because we used to like go to shows just to like get samplers, because like we would just walk around like Detroit and go to like St. Andrews, the Shelter, and people would hand out their samplers, and it was so crazy because that's how we found out about Hawthorne Heights was from a sampler that we got, and the sampler had like Hawthorne Heights, it was a Victory Records sampler, and it's still one of the best samplers I've ever heard. Oh, that's sick. I named my daughter Tegan after Tegan and Sarah. That's awesome. Dope. And then we ended up going to see who was it?
I don't know.
Silverstein opened the show. It was the first time I heard Silverstein, and they stole the show. So it was Silverstein, Most Precious Blood. There was one more band, and then From Autumn to Ashes closed the show. And Most Precious Blood, this is gonna really irritate me. But Silverstein completely stole the show, and I could not believe how amazing that band was seeing them. And then like I dove into like really hard into Victory Records at that point, because Victory Records was kind of hit or miss. But then I really dove in hard, and like it was like Silverstein, Hawthorne Heights, Spitalfield, like a bunch of great bands. And oh man, it was just so fucking rad. I miss those days. I miss days going to Hot Topic again, like Welcome to the Family, a drive-through record sampler. You know, like I miss those days.
Oh yeah. There was like Nitro. Yeah, Nitro Records had like the Go Ahead Punk. There was the Punkoramas from Epitaph.
Yeah,
all the fat ones. I really love the fat. Like Survival of the Fattest was like that. Probably got the most play out of any compilation between like my friends and I up in.
What about Short Music for Short People, man? 101.
I do really like that one.
Like that was legit.
Yeah, I think my favorite one. There's that German band Wieso, and they just count. They just count to 30. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
An amazing song. I don't think it was
half of their songs were 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know, right? It wasn't I Like Food, but it was another one that they had on there, and it was so fucking dope. But
I love that the Teen Idols Ketchup Soup.
It might have been. But like the Descendants were one of those bands that could like make a 25-second punk rock song, but could also make a 3.5-minute love song that was so good. And so
that's how they got me. I was a sappy, I mean, I still kind of am a bit of a sentimental guy. But man, back then, like in my like late middle school, early high school, it was all about Descendant songs like Get the Time and Silly Girl and all that kind, Clean Sheets, all that kind of stuff. But then as I got older, like I still love those songs. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I do kind of like the really angular, like, just madhouse songs that, because to me, it just sort of showed that the Descendants are one of those bands that everyone would say, oh, you like punk rock, so you like these musicians that can't even play. And to me, the Descendants are the greatest example of, great musicians that choose to play punk rock because that's, how they express themselves. And so I just, the precision is amazing for the Descendants.
I still think that when you talk about the most underrated emo bands, and you got to give me a second to explain why, because people are gonna be like, really underrated. And I would say this might be Ashley and I's. If you're talking about like a band that we both love, that I would say is probably our favorite band as a unit. That's not Coheed and Cambria. I would say Jimmy Eat World is the one, because I mean you go from Clarity all the way to their most recent record, Surviving, and every single record is so unique and so perfect. And Damage, the record Damage, I still can't listen to that record without my heart breaking into pieces. Like that is just a concept record about Jim Atkins' divorce. And like every song on there has something that just shatters you. Like in the opening track, Appreciation, the opening line to that song is, "Thank you, honey, for reminding me how long you can stay with someone you never see." And it's just like, him being on tour and shit. And then like, "I Will Steal You Back. Please Say No." Like it's a song like, I've been drinking. I want to call you. Please say no, because if you say yes, I'm going to be there. I'm going to come back. I'm not strong enough to stay away.
I need you to say no. Yeah.
Right. And then the closing track is called You Were Good. And it's just a stripped down acoustic song. And again, one of the most heartbreaking lines I've ever heard in a song, because the chorus is, "You were good, then you were gone. I believed in you all along." But then the second verse is, "You got a charm you wear around your neck. It reminds you of him, and I can see right through. Either you're just bad at cheating, or there's something in your heart you wish I knew." And it's just like, oh
yeah,
God, man, that record from front to back. But then even other, like every single record they have has that at least one song that's just like right in the stomach, you know? And whenever people think of Jimmy Eat World, they think of the middle, which I loved the middle when it came out. And then it got to the point where it was like, it was played on the radio all the time. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. No,
you listen to that song now, for me, as the father of a teenage girl and a 4-year-old girl, the middle makes me want to cry. You know, that it just takes some time, little girl. You're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be all right. Like, oh man, like that's my song to my daughters, man.
Yeah, and that was an interesting, like that era right then when Bleed American came out. It was like the same year that Stay What You Are came out. There was like that genre of music kind of had a little bubble that like kind of burst into the mainstream there for a little bit. So it was really cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was great to see bands like that get their, you know, get their due. Cause I always remember like Tom DeLonge would talk about Jimmy Eat World all the time. Like when Blink popped off in the late 90s, he was like, Clarity is like the most important record. And then, you know, of course I went and listened to Clarity and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Cause this sounds like it's so far away from what Blink, what Blink does. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool though, that he doesn't listen to the kind of music that he writes necessarily.
And the first pressing of Bleed American is worth so much money.
Because it's called Bleed American.
Well, yeah, they released Bleed American.
They had to retitle it.
And then they had to retitle it to self-titled Jimmy Eat World after the trade tower attacks on 9/11.
Yeah.
And which they offered to do. They were like, yo, I think that it was only right that we changed the name of the record.
And it was just odd timing because the record came out like a month before or 2 months before. You know, it was it was in the summer, I think, that it came out. Yeah.
And I just remember being so excited to buy that record, like standing outside Sam Goody, you know, waiting to go in and buy this record. And then you flash forward a few years and me and Ashley are doing that. You know, we're waiting to buy the Big Casino record, you know, and like we're all excited about that one. And that one had a say whatever you want because I can laugh it off. Ha, ha, ha. Oh my God. Jimmy World is so damn good, man. I saw someone else mention Thursday. Thursday is so dope. So dope. Full Collapse, top 10 record of all time.
Full Collapse is really fun. I was fortunate enough to see them on that tour. They played with it was Saves the Day, Thursday, and I think it was like Dashboard Confessional was at that show. And then this band called Seville. The drummer from Dashboard played in this band called Seville, and he was one of the singers. So Seville had like 3 singers, and the guy that back there behind the drum kit singing, and he had this beautiful voice. I always love a drummer that can sing. I don't know what it is. You tell me, Ken. What is it about a drummer that can sing that just really gets you going?
Amazing. It depends though. Like if he has a headset, lazy. If he's actually reaching over to that mic and he's still doing
that's the one.
Like, that's what I think is dope as hell. I see Kate talking about Taking Back Sunday. The first time we saw Taking Back Sunday, it was Taking Back Sunday, the starting line, and the early November. And Adam Lazzara had broken his hip falling off stage. So he was up there with a cane and like he couldn't move. Like he was on a cane and he was trying to swing the mic and shit. And it was so funny. But yeah, Taking Back Sunday is a big brand new. If I had to choose the best 10 seconds of a song, it's in The Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows. When they get to the bridge and it does the I lie for no one, or I lie for only you and I lie well, hallelujah. When they do that drum part, oh my God, dude, like goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
Like the quiet things when they do just the cymbals and then the big snare, the do.
You know,
God,
I'm glad you brought that up because that whole East Coast like emo pop punk thing where the breakdowns were like massive. And I'm a bit like, I just have to interject and say, to me, that's like a Lifetime thing. Like, because Lifetime, they would do that, the huge breakdowns. And then I noticed that all these bands that were, because Lifetime broke up originally like in 97. They just sort of like, you know, kind of flash in the pan. And then when I heard bands like Taking Back Sunday and Saves the Day and stuff like that, I was like, man, I'm hearing that they're sort of taking what Lifetime did and making it a little more palatable, a little more accessible.
Melodic.
But bringing in some of those elements, like those big, heavy breakdowns. Because to me, like when I first heard Lifetime, that's what I loved about it, is that it was like 90 seconds of like breakneck speed and then 90 seconds of a breakdown. You know, it was just like you get in, you get out, you know, you get your sing-along part and everything like that.
Well, you're talking about, you know, the East Coast shit. Like everybody wants to talk about Kendrick and Drake. Man, Take It Back Sunday and Brand New. That was the fucking have another drive yourself home. Like when you had 70 times 7 versus There's No I in Team. I was like, oh shit, they're stealing each other's lyrics just to go against each other. This is nuts. Like that was so fucking funny.
Yeah, the rivalry and everything. And
dude. Well, then like I loved, because everybody's always told me, like, I'm fucking around singing here, but everybody has always told me when I sing that I sing like John Nolan, that I have a lot of John Nolan in my singing. Actually, her brothers thought we were listening to Stray Light Run, and they were like, isn't this you? Because I could do a perfect cover of Soon We'll Be Living in the Future. And like I loved Stray Light Run. Like when Stray Light Run came out and did their shit with John and Michelle and Sean, the bassist from Take Back Sunday, I thought Stray Light Run was so good because he was able to, you know, go against the formula. Like Your Name Here, Sunrise Highway, beautiful song. Another Word for Desperate. Like that song blew my mind. I was like, fuck, what is another word for desperate? Like, how can I explain what desperate means? You know, I was like, God damn it, John Nolan, you got me. But, you know, just these things that the coolest thing about all this shit though, is like the memories I have with Ash, like going to see the Ataris at the shelter and then getting lost on the ride home and going into the most redneck bar. Like me with my
is back when we didn't have
GPS.
Yeah, you had
to print out MapQuest directions.
Like, and I had to drive. That was horrible.
Yeah, I had a suspended license. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah. I was like 16 or 17.
Yeah. But
didn't know where the hell we were.
We went to into this most like redneck bar, dude, and like obviously, you know, I've always painted my nails. I used to have like green hair, girl pants. I was like, hey, we're lost. And they were like, oh, I know. Like, you goddamn right you are, son.
I was like in the car,
locking the doors. Like, but like these memories I have, like going with my wife, you know, like we've been together 19 years now. And music and horror movies has been what's connected us the whole time. More horror movies. But like another thing that I used to do all the time is like she would find a song that she loved. And so like my band would do like a punk cover of it, you know, like just so I could try to impress her, you know, like, like we would do shit like that all the time. Placebo, Special K, man. I loved Placebo. Mindless Self-Indulgence. All the Mindless Self-Indulgence songs I love. If I sang them now, I'd get canceled.
It's too bad, you know. Sometimes you revisit some of that art and you're like, oh, I can't sing that anymore. All those rap songs. I can't sing these rap songs. Oh man.
It's funny because like I loved like late 80s, early 90s rap, like NWA, Snoop Dogg, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like I loved that. And then I kind of fell off for a while. And even like Eminem, like I loved his early shit, really fell off in the middle of his career, and his newer shit I think is so dope. I love the new stuff he's doing. And then you get like the newer, I guess, like mumble rap stuff, and I just I feel so old.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Because I'll be listening, like my son who's 16 will play stuff, and I'm like, what are they saying?
Like I know, I feel like my mom. I'm like, what is this shit? Like,
you want to hear music, son? Let's listen to some stuff from when I was your age. And I put on Cross Out the Eyes.
That's like your dad putting in AC/DC.
Yeah, my dad put on Meatloaf. Now this is music. Like,
Meatloaf's got some good stuff. I love
Meatloaf. I love Meatloaf, man. But like, but you know,
but the mumble, like
13, 14, you know, Weezer, Green Day, No Effects, shit. And my dad's like, let's listen to some Meatloaf. I was like, look, Dad, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but right now we're listening to MXPX, all right? So
see, and I got my dad into bands like MXPX and No Effects and Weezer. Like I would make little, because No Effects had, my dad didn't like music with bad words, so I like made a mixtape of all, I called it the No Effects Parental Mix. And that's what we would listen to on our ride to school every day. So I had songs that I knew like wouldn't offend my dad on a surface level.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with the what was I gonna say? Oh, the mumble rapping. To me, it's like it's the laziness of it. Like I don't even mind. Like I'm just like, dude, you put in some effort into your art. That's all I care about. Even like I gave like I was working at a dispensary in Portland, and they listen to all sorts of hip hop, and they would always have like Mac Miller on and stuff like that. And like some of his songs, I was just like, eh. And then every now and then I would hear one of his songs where I was like, but I really like it though. There's something about his voice when he just opens up a little bit more. I can actually like tell what he's saying. Where I was like, okay, now I get it. And then when I heard his stuff, like his Tiny Desk stuff, and I can't remember the name of the record right now, but it's like the one that has like kind of like lounge instrumentation in it. I don't know how if you guys are familiar, but that's when I was like, man, hip hop with like real instruments. There's something about that for me.
I when it comes to something like that, because I never again, I don't hate anything, but like my son was really into Juice World. I thought Juice World was pretty dope, man.
We rocked some Juice
All white
World.
Gucci suit. I'm feeling righteous.
Yeah.
Like I thought something like Juice World was pretty dope, man. But like it's funny because we talk about Eminem, obviously being Detroit people. Eminem was always the topic of conversation. Thank you, Tyler. Seriously, thank you so much. Hopefully you like horror because we talk a lot about that. But like, obviously, and then like ICP, like ICP was another huge one. I think me and you have talked about ICP before, Davey. Like it wasn't really my scene. But like I respect them so much because of the juggalos and juggalettes.
Yeah.
But it is pretty impressive, like what they created,
It's
and
amazing.
their songs like that Great Malenko record, when that came out, what is that? They're like their third album, I think. That record just cracked me up. Oh, did I lose you guys? No, you're there.
You're frozen for us.
Okay, gotcha. I think we're both.
Or you, Kate, you're 100% right. If you are in Michigan, you have to love Eminem and Kid Rock.
And know everything about them.
Yeah. We didn't grow up on the same block. Funny enough. But yeah, man, like it's so fun just talking about music and shit because like we don't get to do that on our channel. But I think the problem is
us.
Yep.
I think it sort of you guys got back on and then it froze again, but I think you're slowly coming back. Oh, we have the spinning wheel on Late Night with the Davey. All right, chat. While the spinning wheel does its thing, throw me some start bench cut. Let's play start bench cut in the chat. Yeah. So Kate, anybody that has any relation to Michigan, I will say that's her guy. And even if it's somebody she actively doesn't like. And Dice says Kid Rock. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan, Dice. However, that Joe Dirt, he plays a good jerk in Joe Dirt. He does a good job there. I'm just gonna go back over. There we go. We got it all figured out. I'm a professional. I promise. I'm a professional. Okay, guys. We'll see if Ken and Ashley are able to get back, but I know it's really late where they're at. They've got to wake up early for work. So, hopefully they're able to pop back in so we can just say, a good official goodbye to y'all here. But yeah, guys, start bench cut. Linkin Park, Blink 182, Green Day. All right, here we go. Brad Hawk Talk. I'm going to start Green Day. I'm going to bench Blink 182 and I'm going to cut Linkin Park. That was an easy one for me, but I guess I've just never been the biggest Linkin Park guy, the new metal, the kind of like rappy metal stuff. Like I like the first couple Korn records, like the self-titled and Life is Peachy. I do like those records. I like the very first Limp Bizkit record, I think has some good tracks on it. It's just way more aggressive and less like hip hop influence than the rest of the stuff that they did. But Linkin Park never really did it for me too much there. Oh, it looks like they are coming back. All right, here we go. Let's get it. There you guys are.
We might get booted again. Our internet is being stupid right now.
No worries. And I know it's so incredibly late for you guys and you have to wake up early for work. So to at least be able to bring you back on here to you know, to have a proper closeout to the interview would be great. So yeah, I totally get it. We're kind of at about that time anyway. So yeah, man, we could talk music all the time. Maybe we just need to hop on sometime and have a music chat. We can just plan out records. You guys give me some homework of some records I need to listen to. I'll throw you some homework of records that you guys should check out.
What we need to do, man, we need to set up just, you know, let us know. What we'll do is we need to just get on here and do a top 10 favorite records of all time.
Oh my gosh. All right.
You gotta bring Kate too, though.
Okay, cool. We could do that.
Be a double date.
Yeah, we could do the top 10. We could do a tier ranking, some sort of fun, like something really cool to interact there with everybody in the audience. That would be awesome. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. A couple on couple ranking of top 10 records.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, staying on late. I know it's midnight or no. Yeah, midnight out there pretty much out there in Michigan. All right. Yeah, it's amazing here. It's really cool hearing those stories because it's like, you know, hearing you guys talk about going to shows where there's only 30 people there. Like, I feel like I've lived those moments too, where it's like you look back and you're like, how cool is it that I saw this band when it was just like the most intimate thing? And then, you know, when I was living in Portland in the late early 2000, the late aughts, you know, the house that I lived at was called the Zombie House, and we had a whole bunch of shows there in the basement. And it was, you know, one of those crazy things where, like, at one point, Kevin Seconds, I got an email from Kevin Seconds, and he's like, hey, Davey, Kepi and I and Greg from the Bouncing Souls are on tour together, and we heard your guys' house is the place to play. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. That was like one of those wild moments. But even just like watching your friends' bands play in a sweaty basement, you know, and like, and you realize you have those moments where, and it's similar with horror at like a horror convention where you're like, this is sort of like church. These are my people. Like, I feel like not only is everyone like welcome and safe, but everyone is also like acting kind of wild, but it's this like controlled chaos kind of wild where, you know, nothing bad's really going to happen. You know, it's
everybody looks out for everybody at the end of the day, you know, just like with the punk and the horror community, like we protect our own, you know?
Yeah. And like you guys were saying earlier, it's sort of like you're enjoying something that's kind of fringe, you know? So you feel like an outsider just because of what your interests are. And so I think that there's definitely like that, you know, people kind of come together for that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been awesome catching up with you guys. Everybody, link in the description below to go check out Sledgehammer Horror. They've got YouTube memberships. They've got a merch shop. Do you guys have any deals going on in your merch right now?
Yeah, we actually have, I think, 30% off everything, and I think it's 50% off coffee mugs right now.
Hell yeah.
So come get your merchandise because our kids like to eat. And anybody on the East Coast or in the Southern Midwest, July 19th and 20th, Ashley and I will be guests at GhouliCon in Covington, Kentucky. So you can come meet us. And we will also be doing a couple panels while we're there, and we'll be premiering 5 minutes of our new film Psychasthenia, which is a lot of fun. We're very excited about this film. And then July 25th, 26th, and 27th, we'll be guests at Atlantic City Celebrity Convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And like Bret Hart's going to be there. C. Thomas Howell, Pony Boy from The Outsiders is going to be there. A whole bunch of people from The Walking Dead, Greg Nicotero. And then us, you know, so like we're kind of bottom of the bill there, but it's still amazing to be invited out there and be a part of it and have our own table where people can come and say hello and you know, come and meet us. We would love to be able to hang out with you guys and, you know, have a drink or a, you know, handshake or a hug or a burger or whatever. You know, we'd love to hang out with you guys. So if you're in Kentucky area, New Jersey area, please come out. We would love to meet you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. And guys, they're always hopping on live. They've got a great community over there that hops in with them. Just really, really fun horror content. and plenty of it. So you know, always doing new stuff. It seems like every other day you guys have something new popping up. So really appreciate you guys,
man. Because our fans are the hammerheads, and you got the death rays, man.
There it is.
Starts with the freaking laser beams, man. It's the hammerheads and the death rays. Yes, dude. That's I need a t-shirt with that, man.
We haven't found any sharks yet, sir. We have sea bass. Are they ill-tempered? Quite.
Oh man, dude, funny enough, swear to God. So the last song we wrote with Hearts Bleed Black was called "The Joyfulness Is Over," as a reference to Ghostbusters 2. The first song we wrote for the next band we were in, which was called Amora, was "One Penis and Larger Pump" for Austin Powers. No, that's not mine. One receipt. It was that whole thing was the name of the song.
Yeah.
So we wanted to go pick like our kind of old school, like the old school punk days with the super long song titles. And like it was so fun because like when we would play shows, we'd be like, all right, guys, this song's called "One Penis and Larger Pump" for Austin Powers. And people in the crowd would be like, that's not mine. And then we'd say the next part, like, getting so nostalgic about it.
And one book, Penis Enlargers and
book.
Me. It's my bag, baby.
Is my bag, baby.
Written by one Austin Powers.
I love how right after that he's like, Mr. Powers, and he's like, quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Mm-hmm.
Again, Davey, thank you so much for having us on. You know we're gonna bring you back. Bury Your Dead. Bury your fucking dead. Yes, they're great too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for having us back on, man. I got to be up in like 4 hours for work. Yeah, but it was awesome to hang out with you for a little bit, man. You know we love you. Can't wait to meet Kate. We got to plan this record date, and thank you for having us on, man.
Absolutely, you guys are amazing. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Thank you.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.
All right, everybody, that wraps it up for the 5th episode or 5th installment of Late Night with the Davey. Holy cow, 5 streams already. Have I learned anything? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it getting better? Do we need to tweak some things? Really just want to make sure you guys are having a good time here. You know, hopefully as the channel grows, maybe we get some mods in here and we have some folks helping out with just making sure I'm not missing fun stuff in the chat. Just trying to play that role of being the interviewer and also, you know, giving you guys your time here. So really appreciate y'all for coming and checking out this episode. You know, we go live every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. So, you know, if you're looking for a late night stream, this is your spot. If you guys know of any content creators, filmmakers, authors, musicians, somebody that you think would make for a good subject or, you know, a good guest to have on the show, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can get a hold of me through Twitter or through Instagram. All my links are in the description below, as well as a link for the Patreon and for our merch shop. And I do want to let y'all know we have some really fun stuff coming up for the merch. A good buddy of mine, Cole Monroe Chitty, who I've interviewed on the channel previously. You can check out that interview in the video section on my channel. He is an amazing visual artist, just really, really talented at what he does. And he sent me a link to, or a picture of a Davey Death Ray logo that he just happened to come up with while he was watching an episode of this show, and it blew my socks off. So I got a hold of Cole, and he's going to be putting together some logos and some art for all of the main shows we have here on the channel and for the channel itself. So I'm really excited to roll out some new merch for you guys. You know, admittedly, the merch that's up there right now is stuff that, you know, I put together the designs for the most part. My brother did my really cool Davey Death Ray logo there. But I just sort of pieced a bunch of other stuff together, and, you know, I'm not a visual artist. So really excited to roll out some new merch for everyone and just, you know, kind of see this channel continue to grow. You guys are so amazing for coming and hanging out in the chat. Eli, great to see you, man. Thank you so much for coming out. And then there you go. Jamie says, I volunteer to mod. I do it for many channels. And I guess I need to look into that because I don't even know, do I need to meet a certain threshold to get mods? I'll take a look at it, Jamie. But also we need to, I'll get you on the show whenever you're ready to get going on that. And yes, Rod Danglin, subscribe to Davey and all the guests, Sledgehammer Horror and Planet CHH. Links are in the description below. So guys, please check that out. It has been an absolute blast hanging out with everybody. Man, chatting with Christian from Planet CHH. I feel like I've been watching him for years and getting to know him. So it's always really interesting when you finally get to have that conversation and everything. And then of course, Ashley and Ken, I feel like in such a short amount of time, it's been maybe about a month or so, month and a half, just from jumping in their chats and then doing some, collaborations with them, just really getting to know them, better and better, and finding out that not only do we have horror in common, but we also have punk rock, and even our music fandom outside of punk rock has some overlap as well. So that's amazing. Seriously, I could chat like pop punk and emo all night in here for a whole entire episode. So maybe we need to work some of that kind of content here into the channel. Kate and I have like over 550 records. So maybe we could just go through and kind of show off some of our record collection of these, albums that we've been talking about. I know Tyler would like to see some Get Up Kids records pop up in here. Oh, I can mod you right now. If you click the 3 dots on the chat, I'll get you. That's amazing. Okay, maybe I have to hop on over to YouTube to do that because I'm in StreamYard right now. It's not letting me do that, but let's revisit that because I would like to have a mod pop up in here. And look at that, Raymond, subscribe to everybody already. That's what we love to see. Kate says, have a great rest of your week, everyone. See you on Saturday. That's right. Kate and I will be back for an episode of Movie Date with Davey and Kate. We are covering the 1995 classic starring Chris Tucker and Ice Cube. The movie is called Friday, and oh my God, is it hilarious. Let me know in the chat if you guys have seen Friday, if you absolutely love it. If you've never seen it, I want to know. We will be talking all things Friday, and I guess that means that we'll be watching that one tomorrow night so we can catch up. Jamie, you're late, Chad. Chad says, damn. That's all right, Chad. You can always catch the replay. And of course, like I've been doing with all these episodes, guys, I will cut out the full interviews just so you guys can watch those interviews a la carte if you'd like to, without having to go through the whole show. So yeah, really appreciate you guys showing up here. Look at that. Tyler says Saturday, I'll have my pint glass cold and ready. That's awesome, Tyler. Love seeing that. The poll won respect. It did win respect by picking Friday. And man, Mallrats was so close. They were like 1% off of each other. So Kate and I really love Mallrats. I'm sure at some point on Movie Date with Davey and Kate, we will cover Mallrats as well. And Eli, man, I can't wait either. I'm trying not to think about it because I don't want to build it up too much in my head. But Longlegs, just from everything we've seen in the trailers and everything, it just looks beautifully shot. It looks like, kind of a think piece sort of horror movie. I'm really excited to check it out. And look at that. Raymond says, I haven't seen Friday in years. Raymond, this is the perfect time to check it out again and, pop into the chat on Saturday and tell us, see if it brings up any memories of when you originally saw the film, or just, remind you of some moments that you want to bring up there in the chat. And then Jamie says, I love Mallrats. Do Mallrats. Rod says, I picked Mallrats. Don't worry, guys. We'll cover all of these movies because the whole thing with Movie Date with Davey and Kate is that they have to be movies that both Kate and I know really well. So there is that limit, right? So I would imagine Mallrats will probably be the next comedy we cover. We usually do a horror movie and then something that's not horror. So we'll do Friday this time around, and then I think we're going to just go ahead and tackle Scream 3 because I know that if we create a poll and we put Scream 3 in there, it's probably going to win no matter what. So we might as well just go ahead and cover it. But yeah, Jamie and Rod, we will cover Mallrats. Don't you worry. Let's see here. Justin Smith says, I used to know every word to the Friday film. Yeah, it is very quotable. So we'll have a lot of fun time catching up on all those quotes. And yeah, there's Kate. Scream 3 is coming up too. So yeah, all you horror hounds, can look forward to Scream 3 coming up here at the end of the month. And yeah, guys, whole bunch of streams coming up. I'm going to go live with Matt Facci at Facci Cinema on Friday. We're watching The Prowler. Saturday, we do movie date with Davey and Kate. On Sunday, I'm going to do my weekend roundup where we're going to do a tier ranking, my first tier ranking, and we're going to do it live. It is going to be horror remakes. That is going to be the subject of the tier ranking. So guys, show up and help me out with that one. And then some really, really exciting stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks with a fan film I'm working really closely on that I'm really excited to show and share with you guys. But we're just getting everything finalized for the Kickstarter, and then we can roll that out. I think everyone's going to be super pumped. If you guys are fans of horror, and if you're fans of, gosh, one of the two most famous comic book characters in all of comic book history, I think you can kind of figure out what I'm saying here. These two things have never crossed over in mainstream film, but we're going to bring something really, really fun to y'all, and I can't wait to share it. It's going to be so awesome. So there we go. Eli is pumped, and Raymond is going to go see Dune Part 2 this weekend. I need to catch up on those, Raymond. So hell yeah, guys. Thank you so much again for tuning in to this edition of Late Night with the Davey. It has been an absolute blast. You guys are amazing. Like I say every time, you guys are the shareholders. I'm just the CEO. This channel is nothing without you. I love you guys so much and all the support that you bring to the channel, not only showing up for the streams and getting involved in the chat, but also hitting that like button, subbing, checking out the merch and the Patreon. All that stuff is so very much appreciated. Really, really can't express enough how thankful I am for everything that you guys bring to the table. You guys fuel everything we do here at the channel, and I just can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.